Hey, everybody, welcome back once again to the podcast version of BuckIQ. Zach Boren is in the lab breaking it down. Pretty good performance now. Again, let's just put this out up front, Zach. It was the Iowa offense. It's one of the worst offenses in all of humanity that we've ever seen. But Ohio State still has to go out there, can only play the opponent in front of them. The defense was only on the hook for a field goal in that game. So I think by and large, that probably grades out pretty well for you.
It's still a Big Ten team, man. You still got to go out and play the game. I don't care if you're playing the local high school team, right? You still got to play the game. And for the Buckeyes to dominate the way they did, I think 4 turnovers on the day, pick 6. I mean, they were just rolling, and to see them kind of not take that Iowa offense for granted. You know, you're going into a game like that. Players look at stats. Players hear what us as media people are saying, and for them to still have that chip on their shoulder, still play really well, still hold the Iowa offense to 3 points, they have to be more than happy with that.
Zach, are you seeing, as you watch this with a more trained eye, some of the creativity or bluffs or new coverages or different looks from Jim Knowles as the season goes on? It seemed like he had sort of indicated early on, like, there's going to be more coming. Notre Dame was pretty basic. And then you add something. It's like, how different do you think it even is after 7 games than you anticipated, or what new things are you picking up?
You know, it's definitely new stuff, but I think it's just the comfortability with the players. You know, once you start feeling very comfortable in a system, and it's kind of like the basic stuff is second nature, then you start adding stuff on your own. You know, I remember back when I got switched to linebacker, and as the games went on, just Ryan Shazier and I became more comfortable with one another, and then you start playing off of one another, and then, you know, you start showing blitz even when you're not really supposed to be doing that, just because you know your responsibilities and you know you can get there that much quicker. And you know, I think you're seeing that a lot with the way the secondary is playing, with the way obviously Tommy Eichenberg and Steel Chambers are playing. I just think you see everyone getting more and more comfortable that they're able to do different things rather than making sure, hey, I'm in the proper position because I know this is where I need to be. But also you add things onto that, right? The coaches see that, and then you can add the little jazz on top of it that, you know, that some call it. But obviously Jim Knowles is adding some different things to this defense. You see them still continue to be aggressive, game in and game out. And they're actually, you know, Sean Clifford talked about it at Penn State this week of how aggressive this Ohio State defense is. And every single week you see the opponent's coaches and the opponent's players say, man, this is one of the most aggressive defenses we've seen of Ohio State in a very, very long time. And I think Jim Knowles likes that, and the defense likes playing like that.
Yeah, and Zach, they've built up a body of work now over 7 games. That's a pretty decent sample size. We know that there is a different kind of test. You know, Penn State's wide receivers and a veteran quarterback in Sean Clifford that you mentioned. You know that the end of the year against Michigan, after what happened last season, will be another barometer. Are there things that you think the Silver Bullets still have to prove, or is this just a matter of we already know it's very good, and then they have to execute week in and week out?
Well, according to the rest of college football and all the media out there, they need to play a legit opponent, which I think is complete BS. But, you know, so I guess maybe play a legitimate quarterback and some athletes and a legitimate team. But no, I mean, this is something that we've obviously seen what they can do. We've seen them perform, you know, ranked, I believe, 4th defense in the country right now, or 2nd defense in the country. I get offense and defense flip-flopped, but, you know, this is a team. Yeah, I think as a defense, they just need to keep doing what they're doing. Go in, week out, show the rest of the country, hey, we are for real. You know, this week will be the biggest test that they've had with Sean Clifford at quarterback, with the wide receivers that Penn State has. And we've seen this year, right, that the times when Ohio State defense has kind of sputtered and hasn't been the greatest is when they've gotten beat deep, and they've gotten beat at the corner position. And so this week, way more than the weeks previously, the DBs need to step up. And I'm not so much talking about the safeties, but the corners need to go out there and make some plays. Obviously, we saw Jordan Hancock last week, which was great to see. And I know they've got huge expectations for him. So I'm just excited to see them go and go on the road against the 13th ranked Penn State Nittany Lion offense that has some weapons, and being able to say, hey, this is what we've done. This is what we can still do.
Well, it'll certainly help if they can get pressure on almost every snap from Zach Harrison. I think that was probably the best game of his career. We can talk about that more because we've got some clips of a variety of things that he did to help shut down Iowa on Saturday. So we'll save that till the actual breakdown. So let's get to it. Zach for BuckIQ. Let's roll the tape. All right, Zach, feels like we've been talking about Zach Harrison for a very long time. And I guess we have that. When you have that 5-star reputation, when you're a local kid, then we're going to be talking about, somebody like Zach Harrison a lot. And I think that at times our evaluations have been pretty fair, right? I mean, he has not been a Chase Young or a Joey or a Nick Bosa, but he's also been very solid against the run. Now maybe he's starting to add a little bit more to that. This won't be the first time we've talked about him or the last time probably, but what do you think about the way he's coming on right now?
I think it's very fair. This is a 5-star kid, ranked number 3 player in the country right here in Columbus. Obviously, he's going to come to Ohio State and have massive expectations. And let's be honest, I think, Zach Harrison will be the first to admit that he hasn't been that Chase Young or the Bosa brothers that people thought he was going to be. But what he's been able to do recently is what everyone thought he could do all along. And quite honestly, I think he finally feels like he's playing up to his expectations, and that creates confidence. And we're finally seeing a player that's playing with so much confidence. Going against Iowa, they're known to have big offensive linemen. And Zach Harrison, he's length, he's got speed. It was almost like he was getting shot out of a cannon on Saturday. And, when this offensive tackle is looking at a scouting report, Zach Harrison loves going to the speed rush on the outside, loves playing with leverage. And so you're seeing here that, hey, Iowa offensive tackle, what are we going to do? We're going to shoot out on Zach Harrison to try and get to his upfield shoulder to take away the speed rush. What Zach Harrison do? Gets off the ball quick, threatens his upfield shoulder to the speed rush, and then dips up underneath and still uses his length to get past here and makes a great strip sack. I mean, this is just a great play. I mean, you look here and just how quickly he's able to get into the backfield, 8 yards deep, make a play here, make the tackle, and he's finishing. This is the first time we've seen him finish in a long time, and you can tell this has been an emphasis of his in the offseason.
Yeah, I think that's been one of our conversations and talking points about Zach Harrison was, hey, he's generating a lot of pressure. He's like half of a second away from a ton of sacks, but those don't count. Like, you can get pressure and that's good, but strip sacks are better.
100%. And it's a confidence thing. Once it happens a couple times, it's just then the belief is there. And once you start believing, it's going to happen. And so that's what you're seeing here. I mean, man, this is unguardable from the offensive tackle position. So many offensive tackles will tell you it's so hard to defend when you have a guy that's so long, that likes playing with leverage, that's so fast, and you have to protect the speed rush, that then he can start pulling an up and under. Then the rest of the game, I mean, you're trying to play, you're trying to play checkers while Zach Harrison's playing chess on you.
Yep. And here we go. So he stuffed the stat sheet really in a variety of ways, and we're going to cover 3 different of them. This was the part where, hey, we've not had questions about, can Zach Harrison play the run? He's always done that part pretty well.
He always has played the run well, but this is what I love here is that so many times in the past, Zach Harrison might have came all the way down the line and not realized what was going on. Instead, he's seen what's right out in front of him. He sees the tight end trying to reach block him to the outside. So what's he do? Instead of getting past him and coming down the line of scrimmage and being so far inside that he can't make the tackle here, he realizes it, stays wide, and the wide receiver's got nowhere to go on the jet motion. He stays here, continues to climb upfield. Right there, he's gotten leverage on the wide receiver. And so many times, like I said, he comes down or stays flat-footed, and the wide receiver is able to get leverage and get speed to the outside. Here, he does exactly what he's supposed to be doing. He's reading the block in front of him, even though he's playing so fast. And look at that. He's 4 or 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and the ball carrier is just now getting to him.
I think one thing that you can notice on all 3 of these plays, and the last one here is the pass that he breaks up and bats down deep down there inside the Iowa 5, how he's using the length, the size and how long his arms are. You saw it when he was getting inside and reaching in there to strip out the football. You saw him as he was shedding that block there to stop on the run. And then you could put it up vertically, and the guy's really tall and he's got really long arms. That's going to cut down some passing lanes if that's where you're looking.
100%. And look what you have right here. You know what? I've just mentioned so much that he uses his speed here, down inside the 5-yard line. What's he do when an offense tackle's thinking, okay, hey, listen, I got 5 wide on offense. We know it's a passing situation, 3rd and 9. I think he's going to speed rush. What's Zach Harrison do? Bull rushes him. And you just see how much pressure he gets right in the quarterback's face. And when he's that close to the quarterback and how lengthy and long he is, I mean, to the quarterback, he looks like a 7-footer. He looks like a dude that it's so hard to get to complete a pass on this when you get in the passing lane. So, yeah, I love this. And, we didn't talk about this much on the podcast here, but, a couple games ago when he got moved down into almost a 3 technique for some of the game. And I think, something clicked then when it was like, hey, I'm going against some shorter offensive linemen. I can use my length. I can use my leverage. Something clicked in that game to now he's using it at a defensive end position and going against these offense tackles and thinking, hey, listen, I can use my leverage. I can do those same things that I learned in that game as a 3 technique. And we're seeing that here. And this week's going to be a huge week for him because at Penn State, Sean Clifford's going to want to throw the football. They're a great running team. They got, Nick Singleton, their freshman running back that they like getting the ball to. Zach Harrison's going to be huge in this game, and he's just got to keep on getting confidence.
Probably going to need to play more than 20 snaps, but that would just be my amateur evaluation there.
No doubt. I think we can all agree that some of these starters need to play some more snaps on defensive line. You want to know something? Maybe they're saving them for this weekend in Happy Valley. Let's only hope.
That might be right. Maybe we'll be talking next week about Zach Harrison, Mike Hall Jr., JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer taking on a heavy workload and helping get those silver bullets firing at Penn State. We'll see. That will be a conversation for next week. Zach will be back with his breakdowns, as always, BuckIQ on the podcast. We appreciate his time and his insight, as always. He's Zach. I am Austin. This has been BuckIQ. We'll see you next week.